Welcome to our podcast, where we discuss and meet with people, businesses, and trades that have motivated and inspired us along the way of creating our own business, River Road Brewing and Hops. I'm your host, Nikki Andrew, the original River Road Blonde, and this is Down River Road. Welcome back to another episode of Down River Road. It's been a long time since we have been able to do one of these, and I'm really excited about this episode because it's been about a year and a half of me trying to get these guys together, coordinated, which is next to impossible, to be here to do this today.
Because they're all at golf.
So without further ado, I'd like to welcome our Brewers panel. I'm going to introduce these guys. We've got Phil and Jesse, and they're here from Job Site, so welcome, guys.
Hello, thanks for having us.
David is here from River Road Brewing and Hops. We've got Rick over here from Caps Off Brewing and Alex from Square Brew. So welcome, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Cheers.
I think we'll start off with, you guys already have beer in your cups. I have not poured into my cup yet.
Pour a cup.
So this is our beer. This is Zesty Farmer. This was David's choice today. Do you want to explain a little bit about it, David? And don't say, you already know.
Summer lawn. Yeah, why are you asking?
Why are you asking? You already know.
I've had one of these before.
It's our summer lawnmower beer. It's light pale ale with fresh lemon zest in it.
It's delicious. Very
That
good.
was super descriptive.
Very zesty.
Why did you make this beer?
Why did I make it?
Oh, why did you make this?
Well, you know, that's what we do to pay the bills.
You grow lemons?
And yeah, it was the lemon farming that I was curious
That you
about.
failed at, apparently. Yes, we had to brew beer instead.
And then did fine.
Who does all the zesting?
Yeah, he's failing at telling the story that he's told me like 10 times. Like, I know the story you're trying to get him to tell.
Alex, can you explain what Zesty Farmer is?
Yeah, would you like me to explain the story?
Well, my wife and my daughter used to zest the lemons when we brewed on a 2 hectoliter system.
I said, hell no.
Yeah, and then when we went to the 10 hec system, they left me.
How many lemons do you zest?
Sharon, we do 30 pounds of lemons get zested to do one.
Yeah, do you see why? Yeah, because that's not happening.
So Sharon, that owns Pink Flamingo Bakery in Bayfield, she sells fresh pressed lemonade. She now zests her lemons. We use the lemon zest in our beer, and we compost the leftover lemons for her.
Nice.
And we end up with Zesty Farmer.
Zesty Farmer.
It's delicious.
So I wanted to kind of start off with, to do a little introduction, each of you, just so we kind of know what you're about, where you're from, what kind of got you into brewing in the first place, and we'll kind of move on from there. So we'll start with Phil and Jesse.
So I guess I'll start at the beginning of Job Site. So it was just me and my boss at the time. We were working construction. We did, we tried golfing. We sucked at golfing. So we did a brewery tour.
He's still good at sucking at
Yeah, suck at golfing. Yeah. So we did the brewery tour and we got pretty drunk. And at the end of it, the last place we ended, they were talking about how long it took them to build a brewery. And we were like, shouldn't have taken this long. Like, you cut the floors and you pour the concrete. When you start cutting, you call for the truck, and it's done the next day. And but they never made brewing beer sound difficult.
Accurate.
So it was, after that beer tour, it was roughly 2 weeks. Then we casually started talking about opening a brewery. I thought my business partner, my boss at the time, was joking. And it was 2 months later that we ordered equipment. So it was like, I 100% live by, we were so quick at building a brewery that we didn't have time to figure out how dumb the idea was.
It's probably better that way.
Yeah, 100%. We were so deep into it, by the time it got complicated, that it just made more sense to go through and open. And then, yeah, Jesse pretty well started when I was at my lowest during COVID. You started before as a server, and then I'll let you kind of...
Yeah, so I started working there as a server. I was in teachers college. I mean, I always liked craft beer and liked brewing. But then once I started working there, and then COVID hit, and then things got shut down, I started helping out in the back more when we started canning. So started helping out with production stuff, and then really got into home brewing a lot more. And then it just kind of came to the point where Phil didn't want to brew anymore, or didn't really have the time to. So then I kind of took it over, and I've been doing it now there for about a year. I've been there for like 2.5 years, but brewing full time for about a year. So, yeah.
Awesome. David, do you want to give kind of like a brief? Because everyone should know by now if they actually watch our podcast. But just in case, this is first time viewer.
Yeah, for sure. Very similar story, though the home brewing started a long time ago, but traveling around and going on craft brewery tours and such, myself and my wife.
That's
and,
me.
And seeing that, yeah, lots of other breweries that were both in Ontario firing up and in Michigan starting were brewing on systems that were smaller than what we were home brewing on. So yeah,
Pretty big homebrew setup.
well, it was big on the scale of homebrew. We learned within 3 months it wasn't big on the scale of trying to sell your beer.
Right.
And yeah, open the doors, and if you thought we should try and make some money at the hobby, I am gonna blame you.
Yeah, thanks. It has nothing to do with me, but carry on.
We should make money on the hobby instead of spending it. And yeah, we opened the doors. And
Have you accomplished that task?
I will reiterate what you just said. One of those ideas are. It is a great way to work 16 hours instead of 8 and make less money.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I do still like what we're doing.
And it's way cheaper
And I
to make
enjoy
your
the
own
beer. Yeah,
Way cheaper.
12 years ago I told my wife it'd be cheaper if we brew beer at home.
Yeah.
And you know,
You've accomplished that.
$1.5 million in now. I'm not sure how many bottles that buys you, but
Yeah.
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 You're ahead.
yeah.
Didn't quite work out that way. Anyway,
So yeah.
Alex, tell your story.
Sure. Yeah. So the brewery's been open for 5 years here. We opened in 2017. I was a brewer before that at Amsterdam and Toronto, and before that at Block 3 in St. Jacobs. And we were kind of living in Toronto and saying, like, we're not going to stay here forever. It's expensive to live in this city. We want to get back closer to home. Grew up in Milverton, big city. And wanted to get closer to home, but not quite Milverton, I guess. And so we kind of landed on Goderich to start a brewery. So that was like 2016. I was working at Amsterdam, and we started thinking about that. And yeah, came and found a spot and started a brewery, I guess. Kind of the same idea. It was, why not? I don't know. I know how to make the beer already. Like, that's got to be the hard part, right? Maybe not. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a whole
I saw
nother
everybody
side.
else at the brewery, and they looked like they sat at desks all day. That looked like easy. I was the one that
you do now, though.
I was the one that left at the end of the day dirty. Like, so I must be the one working hard. I don't know.
That makes sense.
That
Maybe
makes
naive.
total sense.
Maybe naive.
A
I
little
don't know.
maybe, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so we've been going in Goderich here for 5 years now. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Rick,
Yeah. Capsoft Brewing in St. Thomas. My wife and I opened the doors 2019, so about a year and a bit before the pandemic hit, or the shutdown, the first part of the shutdowns. I started homebrewing over 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago. Little hobby kept getting bigger and bigger, and more equipment, and it was a trip to Vancouver. We went out for a few months on a construction job. I was out there working, and we did a bunch of brewery tours out west and discovered like some really small breweries. And it was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Maybe we can make a go of this at home. And so we started to make an attempt, and it took me a year and a bit to build it, and then to get through all the licensing and everything. That's actually when we met Dave and Nikki. I think Fran reached out to Dave about equipment, and we had already placed our order for our original equipment. And Dave's key advice, he still says it, whatever your budget is.
I think the original request was for equipment that was the size of what we opened on.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, no.
No, don't do it. And we started with something smaller.
Yeah.
Something
yeah,
smaller.
exactly. Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it's already purchased now, so that's about as far as we go.
Yeah.
And I think it was 2 months after we opened the door, I called Dave. I'm like, all right, you were right. I need to order some new equipment. And
He shouldn't say he's right. It just goes right to his head. Yeah.
You can see his head go swelling.
I like how you guys said earlier you're going to roast
It
me.
is perfect what you were going to say, though.
Yep.
If you come up with a budget.
Come up with a
Double it.
budget or a scale of equipment, like whatever
And
it is.
double it.
Yeah. And
Triple?
Or triple.
Yeah, triple if you want to like just not stress about financial problems.
I remember.
You guys should have got a job at a brewery first. I knew that you needed big equipment when you started.
That's where we failed.
Yeah.
They wouldn't hire a drunk customer.
Yeah. I remember originally when we started construction in the summer of, the spring of 2018? Is that right? And we wanted to be open in October, and I'm like, oh, yeah. It wasn't until the following April, I think, we finally opened the doors.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Was licensing the biggest delay?
No, it was construction.
everything? Oh, okay.
I was basically doing it on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find licensing sometimes is a big problem.
Ours was 17 months. We were back when you when you did
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
It was over a year.
Yeah.
Filing paperwork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't even do it online then.
Right, yeah, you mailed
We had
everything in.
just, because you had applied, I was asking you questions and they were just switching over to online applications at that time. Yeah, it was a mess.
Sending, triplicate or whatever.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, of course.
Yeah, the sequence of it was what blew me away. And like no one really talks about, well, they need to measure your bright tank?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You need to see the brewery functioning and set up the way it is before you give me a license?
Yeah.
Suck it.
What a crazy idea.
Yeah, you put money out and then just sit on it for a while.
Well, I remember having that conversation with the AGCO guy. I'm like, do you expect me to pay for everything just to apply?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't understand. What if it gets denied? He's like, well, that's your problem. I'm like, no way.
Look at this drawing. That shows where it's going to go. That counts, right?
Yeah.
Not to
That was,
them.
we fired up on our homebrew system, and the excise officer walked in and didn't even say who he was. His first words were, "It's too small." And I was like, "Yeah, but it's paid for." This is where we're opening.
Yeah.
Fran's in the back. She goes, "That's what she said."
Yeah. Oh, I was so tempted.
Small, but
I'm glad you said it, not me. All right, we're going to move on to another beer because you guys are looking dry. So I've got Rick's beers here from Caps Off. What do you want to?
Well, I
I've
only
got
put a small
3.
amount in.
Well,
Does it matter?
If the tricorn is like super strong, I literally like.
Who wants
almost
to try
stay
the
away from that one.
tricorn?
That's for after the cameras
That's
shut
right.
off.
That's right.
That might
All right,
be
so
for
we've got
later.
Cerveza and we've got American Pale Ale. Let's pass those guys
Those are
around.
2 new beers for us.
Try it. So yeah, tell us about them, Rick.
So the Happy Hansen, the American Pale Ale, that one came about because a local hop farmer, he wanted to enter a competition in December or January this year, and I'm really not into doing beer competitions really, but he grew the hops and he wanted me to enter for him, right? So had to create a beer, but it was one of those competitions where it has to be a certain beer style. And I already had a pale ale, so I'm like, well, but I don't have an American pale ale. I guess I could do that.
Right.
Anybody need it? No?
Here, I'll have some. Is there any left?
Yep.
Yep.
So it was made with all his hops that he grew on his farm, Cascade and Chinook, and which we got the Brew On logo on that one. So we entered the competition. The beer turned out fantastic. It was a massive hit in the tap room, so I just kept making it.
So before we go any further, explain the Brew On logo because lots of people don't understand
So
what that's
the
all
Brew On
about.
logo means that I think it's 80
Extra paperwork.
80 or yeah, it is extra paperwork.
There is different.
Percentages.
There's different
I
percentages.
think you got a
for
different
what
color
one.
logo. I
The
think.
way
if
the
you-
farmer got it was because it was 100% Ontario hops.
Which is
Ontario
awesome.
grown hops.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's how we got that one.
And what were these guys drinking? They had something
In the
different.
Cerveza.
Oh,
Cerveza.
Nice.
So I think the Cerveza was one of my first attempts at a lager. I don't like doing lagers because they take too long. But Wanted to do a Mexican style lager, but I called it Canadian Cerveza because I used all Canadian hops again, or Ontario grown hops. And we used that beer as a fundraiser for the new mountain bike course that's going in. So to have the hat relation tie in, that's why we call it Casco de Bicicleta. So it's like Spanish for bicycle helmet. But yeah, we're
Cultured.
yeah.
Doesn't he sound so smart?
I'm correcting myself in my mind. I'm like, it's not Mexican, it's Spanish. But then I let it out.
It's all right.
No
So
filter, Rick. Yeah.
it's okay. You don't need a filter. When at the brewery, there's lots of people that'll come in, and I'm sure you guys run into this as well. They'll be like, "This is amazing. This is so cool. I want to start up my own brewery." And I know we all kind
You
of
guys get that too?
better.
I know of one. You can
I don't know if you. I kind of wanted to demyth what it's like to own a brewery, to work in a brewery. One of the biggest things that you always say, brewing beer is 10% brewing, 90% cleaning. So that's like a big myth, and a lot of people don't realize that until you explain it to them.
Sure.
And even then they're like, oh, whatever, until they've actually done it. And then they're like, oh yeah, that's why, yeah, it's not actually easy. So
Typically, that's when the employee realizes that the 90% cleaning is 100% their job.
yes.
That's when they're going like,
Not my department.
not my department.
Not my department.
So I just wanted to know, like, what are the other myths that you guys can think of that people come in, or even like little things like,
Right. I think it's funny people say like, oh, I want to start a brewery, which is funny. It's Saturday and they're drinking and I'm working, and it's like, wow, like, I think you've got the better end of this. I don't know. I want to go drinking at a brewery, you know, but it's just a lot of work. I think like, yeah, it's a job. Like, you know, it is fun. It's like a ton of fun. It's probably more fun than a lot of jobs, but it's a job, and it's a lot. It's, you know, it's not a 40-hour-a-week job, that's for sure. Yeah.
I've found that, I agree with the 90% cleaning. Like, most of what we do is cleaning and organizing, and you know, trying to teach the new guy to, when you take stuff out, make sure you put it back before you start the next task, or else you're going to trip over it. You know.
Yeah.
But things like that, like, you just get used to. I guess I would say I'm a partially OCD, which I guess is why I can work in a brewery.
Yeah.
But yeah, owning a brewery is, you don't consider all of the things that go into running a business on the side of,
sure.
I get to brew beer every week or a couple of times a week. I get to, you know, drink with my friends when I have an evening off, but most of the time it's like every hour of every day you're up thinking about the business, working on the business, whether it's paperwork, tax submissions, or, you know, making sure that you have enough product that's going to be coming up for the next season, or so there's all these aspects of it that people just, I didn't even really consider when we opened, but you just kind of grow into it, right? Like, that's that's what we've been doing, is growing into it. But
you kind of have to.
we did have a gentleman, I want to say this was a few months ago, but he was pretty drunk, sitting drinking beer with his friends, and he's like, oh, you guys got the best job ever. Like, this is the dream. I can't wait. I'd love to open a brewery. And friend's like, oh, do you homebrew? And he's like, oh, no, I've never brewed. Just like, oh, man, you have no idea what you're in for.
Yeah, I think for me the biggest thing was that brewing becomes the lowest totem pole part of it.
Yeah.
So the thing that everyone romanticizes, that idea of like brewing massive volumes, that becomes so pushed aside from what you worry about or care about. Cleaning, like making sure that when someone comes in and perceives everything to be clean and they want to have a good time there, that becomes a big problem, or like a big concern. Or the idea of like the relationships with these people that are saying you have a dream job, and it's like, yeah, buddy, you're living the dream job. And like making sure that they still feel like they were treated so great in your spot. Like, it's the customer interactions that I love, but like there's times where it's like, man, was I glad that the day ended and I got to go home or brew a beer that night. Like, it's just so taxing because it's always on. And that was the thing I never thought of Like I never considered. First of all, we went pretty quick into it. I love the tinkering of it. I love all that, but it's just the exhausting aspects that are just constant. And definitely during COVID, like making sure you have what you need, but don't have something that can't pay the bills sitting there looking at you.
That's just it. The tinkering, the romance of making recipes and all that goes away when you figure out, you know, keeping up with five.
When you need to get it again,
Keeping up with 5 beers that pay the bills, right?
exactly.
That's where it,
Well, and now like it's so funny. Like my favorite part of the job probably used to be brewing, and like the last like couple months, it's been like, can I work when there's like a big party going on? Like I feel like I haven't done that. I just want to.
I want to pretend I'm in this group.
Well, just like it's like I love seeing people in the brewery again. Like not just taking beers and leaving. It's like, it's fun to have that stuff back.
for sure.
Yeah.
How about you? You wanted this dream.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, this is you.
Mine's a little different though because I don't have the like administration side to it.
You don't have
That
the
you guys don't have
back
that.
end or the
I don't,
financial
yeah.
burden.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I hear enough about it. I hear enough about it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And the brewery already existed.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
you walked
Yeah,
in.
yeah. I just kind of jumped into it, which was nice. But yeah, I mean, I still love it. Yeah, but I mean, my story is a lot different than everyone's. So
Well, let's hear it.
yeah.
Yeah, tell us
Well,
your
that's what I
story.
mean. Like, I don't have to worry about the financial side of it. I
Right.
do a little bit, but
You do.
I do.
You do.
But yeah, but not in the aspect where it's not like, you know, I mean, I take pride in the business as the same he would, but yeah, like you have to go home and do paperwork and do all the tax stuff and all the you should. Yeah. Whereas me, like
That's
I can,
all that stuff that kind of
I
gets
can-
pushed
I
to the
can
side of the
brew,
desk.
you know.
Yes.
I can brew during the week and do everything I need to do, and then you know I can still have my time at night. I mean, I still go home and usually work at night creating recipes or doing labels or whatever.
Yeah.
But still, like it's
By
not.
night, do you mean like 11 o'clock on a
Oh,
Friday?
you're never gonna let that go, are you?
I'm just curious.
It was 10:30. I was out of there.
Or 10:30
Last week he
in
was
the
supposed to stop in. I told him I wasn't going to be there all day because I was going golfing.
I'm going
And I left a little early to go golfing.
I get that.
He's all bitter about it now. He's all bitter about it now.
Hey, Jesse,
He was gone too.
What
makes-
was I
yeah.
doing again? I forget. Last Friday.
last Friday.
I forget
if
where
it
you
makes
went,
you
but-
feel any better, I've
Alex
stopped
does it too.
He's
All right,
a
that's
golfer
okay.
too, and I stopped
yeah.
by 100 times.
Yeah,
that
we'll
he's
say I
out
was
doing
fine.
something.
Maybe you just need to take up golfing.
I was going to say, apparently you need to take up
Apparently,
golfing.
yeah, I missed
It's
that.
a
Not with me.
prerequisite.
Not with me.
Brewing, man.
Can't spend any more time with you.
These guys don't have a farm to go with all their stuff.
that's
though.
right.
You
Exactly.
made that choice.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
You catch me golfing, I'm knocking it into the bean field.
Yeah, exactly.
Not on a course.
Yeah.
It's all right. You're still out there drinking and having fun.
That's right.
Yeah, like one of the biggest things that we find myth-wise, people come in and be like, "Oh, the hop yard's so cool. Isn't
Right.
that neat?
That's the other
I want to
way.
start a hop yard." And I'm like, "Oh," and I'm like biting my tongue, saying, "Don't do it, don't
Right.
do it." But you can't,
wanna
you
burn a
can't, you
hop
can't
yard.
destroy people's
is.
dreams.
You don't
It
wanna
is
crush
cool,
it.
but
No.
I think that's hard too, is trying to keep that mystique or that magic there.
Yes.
Because you know they're never, more than likely, they're never going to get to that point. So why be the rain cloud on that,
Yeah.
on that dream?
Absolutely.
Oh, and I get to remind myself all
Yeah.
the time too. Don't be like a grumpy.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't be a grumpy
Yeah.
asshole about it. Like, yeah, like this is a good job. Like,
Yeah.
it's like
It's
a
not
lot
a
of
bad
work.
job, no.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
work, but like, you know, it's
Yeah.
cool. It's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah. So on that
I
note,
say
what are
all
some
the-
of the more positive things?
I like the people, honestly. Like the people is sweet, you know. Just like whether it's tourists or like just locals or regulars, whatever it is, like it's kind of cool talking to people, and you know you hear a lot of different people's stories, and of course it's cool to make beer and make different beers and stuff like that. But you know, I like the people personally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
saying when the whole COVID thing was going through and people coming in, just picking up takeout and leaving. And, you know,
Right.
Fran and I would sit at a table and play cribbage and
Yeah.
like just bored out of our
Yeah.
skulls.
Yeah.
And
No interaction.
and kind of depressed because it was like, this isn't what we designed this business to be.
Right.
This is not what this was about.
Yeah.
And then I think it was, I can't remember what it was, but it was finally like we could open up on the patio.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of people out on the patio. And I was in the back, and I could just, over the music, I
Hear
could just
voices.
hear laughter and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
voices.
Yeah.
And I walked out front, I'm like, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
This is why we do what we do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is why I show up to work at 2 in the morning most days. Yeah.
We had that, what, 2-3 months ago?
Yeah, when we could
things opened
first
right
have
back
people
up.
inside
The-
again.
Yeah, the brewery was packed, and the end, we chatting and loved it. End of the night, everyone leaves. Both of us looked at each other. I was like, I didn't remember it was that loud.
Yeah.
It's been so quiet for so long.
Yeah.
I know it is nice to see the brewery full again.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, for sure.
have events. Events is a big thing to have again.
Yeah, events are
Definitely.
fun. So
A lot of
everyone,
fun.
I know all of you do events of different kinds. You just had a big thing. You
did
just
a-
had your anniversary.
We had a big
Happy
anniversary party. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we did. Yeah,
Yes.
on last Saturday we did. Yeah, it was a big party.
Yeah.
Taco Indian food truck and a band and yeah, just a lot of people hanging out, drinking beer. Really fun. Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
all do concerts of different types, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some different scales than others.
Yeah.
We don't have the hydraulic setup at.
That's right.
Yeah. 52-foot trailer.
Yeah.
Exactly.
With a green room in it.
It's on wheels. You
Oh,
can't-
yeah,
bring it
you
down.
can't-
We don't have enough parking to accommodate it.
Just put it on the tracks.
There you go.
We don't all have the privilege of having our own in-house engineering and fabrication.
Well, actually, it's
What?
turned
You
into a
don't?
workshop
I
now.
thought that was just part of a brewery.
We do. I called Dave.
Yeah.
Dave, answer this question for me. Answer
We
this
need
question.
another beer. What's
To backtrack there about things that we enjoy, I also liked this is going to sound crazy because it's almost a complaint in another degree, the flexibility. So working construction before, I left before the sun and came around when the sun started to set. When, even though I was putting in insane amounts of hours at the brewery, I could brew in the middle of the night.
Right.
I could be fairly flexible with production.
Yeah.
Tap room was a little bit more demanding, but that was fun because
Yeah.
it was the interaction. You
Yeah.
heard people enjoying a product that you made. I really, in construction, I was rewarded by production of like a physical thing. In brewing, I was rewarded by social production, if that makes any sense. Like the interactions that
Right.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said it right. Like people
Other
enjoying the
social-
product that you're making.
Social appreciation
Yeah.
of your product.
Yeah, and just
Yeah.
it was
Not just you.
like
Yeah.
the first time I saw a job site t-shirt in town, I was like, what the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's that?
this
Right?
guy
That's not my cousin.
sucks. And then I was like, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
That like I really,
Those
I never
moments
thought that
still are
mattered.
pretty
but,
surreal.
Yeah.
As simple as a T-shirt.
or if you
Yeah.
go up north and you
Right.
see like a River Road
Yeah.
shirt, you're like, what the hell
We had a
happened here?
person in town a few weeks ago.
Yeah, they were on vacation in
They
Mexico.
were on vacation in Mexico, and
Yeah.
their kid was like, "Hey, that's Red's truck."
Yeah.
And she was like, "What are you talking about?" And looked, and there's a guy at a pool in Mexico wearing
Yeah.
a River Road
That's really
shirt.
cool.
And they were freaking
That's
out.
pretty
pretty fun.
cool.
Yeah, that's like
The
a
story
really
comes home,
cool.
and you're like, "Wow,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
nuts."
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are looking empty again.
So
sorry.
one other aspect I could pull out that Davey will probably appreciate, I like the problem solving.
Right.
Oh yeah,
And Phil, the tinker, and then him. He's
Yeah.
doing the exact
it's a
same.
hobby that keeps me busy.
Yeah.
Because it's ever evolving, right? Like there's
Yeah,
always
exactly.
something else.
And
Yeah.
it costs money, but like the business needs to do this.
Right.
Right?
Definitely. Yeah.
Oh, really? That's exactly.
Well, my wife said it, not me. She's like, this is the first hobby that you have that might pay more than you pay into it. I don't know if we've
Might.
I don't know if we've leveled that out
You're
yet.
young, man. It'll come.
Yeah, that might be a comment on your other hobbies and
Yeah.
less a comment on this.
Yeah, you don't know my other hobbies.
How much money do you put into windsurfing and you don't get anything out of it?
I've been kiteboarding for 9 years and I still can't ride.
That's what she means.
Alex, can you grab me those? Yeah.
Whoa.
And I think there's another one up
Yeah,
there.
or I mean, I built.
I think this is a lighter beer than yours, so I thought we'd
Yeah,
start
I've got
with
a
those.
stout.
Yeah.
so- Okay. Yeah. Is that what we're going?
Yeah, that's what
There's a
we're
couple
going
more in
with.
the cooler over there too.
Oh, we stole them off the shelf.
Okay.
So talk to us about this beer.
It's a traditional like German wheat beer that's
Yep.
soured, and then there's sea salt added, and then we added some raspberry at the end as well. So
Really good.
good.
yeah,
Yep.
Very nice.
it was my first attempt at it.
You
and I was,
sound surprised. This is good.
Phil's first
What the
try.
heck? Yeah.
Out of a can. Yeah, not out of the.
I was
Out of the fermenter.
yeah, exactly. I was nervous at making it just because of the salt in there.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff I read and I did some research on it. They said that there's a fine line of the salt. You can
Definitely.
either add way
Yeah,
too
you
much
went over it.
or not enough.
Oh, this is nicely said.
So
listen
for the
to
first
it.
time doing it, that was I'll never replicate it again. But It'll
You
be,
should have weighed the salt, then it'd be easier to replicate.
I did that. But
He's
yeah.
actually quite anal about that
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah.
Way more than
Did you
that.
write stuff down?
We have
Keep
two scales in the brewery.
What's that?
We have like
Yeah, I'm taking notes,
one
yeah.
that's not accurate.
Yeah.
And he weighs the hops out on the one we do for pizza dough.
Because it's
Be accurate.
Yeah.
I like that.
I still like it. I like the science of it. So
That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah, I think
awesome.
it
It's a really
turned
good
out
tasting beer.
decently
It
well,
is.
yeah.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
That's
I
great.
don't know if anyone else plays this game, but we usually don't release the same beer back to back. We wait a while so that people forget.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it'll never replicate the same. So then that way
Especially
we're
if
good.
it's different.
Yeah.
You do know that this is
Well,
going to
that-
be.
Jobs like people don't watch us.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you my other secret too.
Okay.
We usually don't name a beer before it's ready,
Right.
because there was just a long time ago.
It can change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's normal, I
Someone
think.
told
Yeah.
me long ago that it's like
That's what we live by a
you
job
never
site.
brew a wrong beer, you just named it wrong. I'm like, oh, that
Yeah.
makes so much
Yep.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we usually, like there's an idea, but if something happens, like say the brewer had a late night of drinking or something, and things went a little
happen,
different, I don't know, then we name it differently.
We've had beers on tap unnamed.
Right.
For exactly that.
Yeah.
That's a porter.
Start.
This is a dark beer.
Beer. You asked for a beer.
Yeah.
It's up to
Here
the
it is.
imagination.
Alcohol
Yeah.
and water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You tell us. What do you think we
We
should
put them
name
on,
it?
and then we've had different customers and friends and everything
Yeah.
name a beer
Yeah.
because of that. We're like, I don't know.
Yeah. We have a beer at the brewery right now called Something Dark, because it was literally like people are like, do you have something dark on tap? Something
funny.
dark, and it's like, yeah. All
That's
right,
so
here we go.
smart.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is Something Dark.
There you go.
Oh, you've heard of it.
It's the one you just asked for.
Yeah.
That's actually really good. I like that.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about running a brewery the last couple years. I know no one wants to talk about it anymore, but it did happen. It was a bit of a crazy time for all of us.
You didn't have to run a brewery. The government gave us half the year off.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're off.
Yeah, maybe 7 months actually.
That helps things.
What were
yeah.
some of the trials? What were some of the positives, if there were any?
Woodworking.
We didn't can a lot of beer before the pandemic, so like we
same
Yeah,
learned a lot about
absolutely.
canning beer, which I think probably all of us did. Which is like a skill that will last, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the whole
There's-
market has shifted since COVID in terms of like takeout beer and canned
Yeah.
beer.
I think we'll continue to sell that stuff, and that is
I had
helpful.
a fairly good understanding of canning beer going into COVID.
Right.
Only we signed a sales contract February of 2019 to go to restaurants. We brewed and kegged our ass off for 3
Right.
months.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, and
Right.
we had 120 kegs sitting in a walk-in cooler
Right.
that I couldn't sell.
Yeah.
Then I learned how to can beer out of kegs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
is handy.
yeah.
We do it all the time.
So that was what we got asked a lot, like, how did you guys survive? And honestly, it's just molding. It's
Right.
just constantly
Yeah.
just evolving
Yeah.
from what you were
Yeah.
doing.
There was like weekly business plan changes.
Yeah.
Half
Absolutely.
the time
sure.
it was like throughout the day that it shifted.
Yeah.
I think there's been a couple really, it's a very short list of perks that I've seen since COVID. One of the ones was like it forced me to go online.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that was something that I'd always talked about before, but now we have an online, it's not as big as it was during the peak of COVID, but like every week we're still seeing
Online orders.
this percentage of people that still order, and I just drive home after work and deliver them. So it's
Yeah.
like
Right.
it and canning, like before
Yeah.
we used to have like 4 cases of cans in
Yep.
sight. I remember the first day someone bought a full flat from us, and I was like, that guy's crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to like shake his hand.
Yeah.
There's a little tear coming down my cheek right
And all
now.
of a sudden, someone ordered 3 cases to be delivered to their house. I was like, screw that guy. Yeah, there's definitely that shift. But like forcing me to do I'm a king of procrastination. Things that seem easy, I push off. And the online, we always had it ready. I just never did it. And I did it in it was 15 minutes. I turned our online on. And from then on,
Yeah.
we started making money.
And those are things you never needed it before, though,
Making
right?
money. What's this
Yeah.
stuff?
No, I mean, yeah.
Dial it in, yeah.
When was that?
Funds were moving.
Yeah.
Did we notice any change in local people supporting local businesses more so?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Especially at the beginning, it was crazy, right?
Are you
Like,
still seeing a lot of it? Like, yeah.
definitely. I think it changed. Like, it's not like the rush of that first couple months is gone, obviously. But I think like
Easy.
we haven't lost all those customers. Like they,
Yeah.
they stuck around, you know. That's what I feel like.
Well, they were trying things that they wouldn't normally.
Summer, summer 20, whatever that was. 2019 was it? Or
2020.
2020.
Yeah.
As soon as things opened up, it was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was still
Like,
a
it
decent
was-
year. Well,
Yeah.
decent in
In
relationship.
3 months.
But I mean,
Yes.
like everyone was completely locked down at their house for 2-3 months, so.
And not
Once
used
you-
to it at that point in
Right,
time. Yeah.
right, yeah. Yeah,
It
once
was,
you.
it was one of those, like, I wouldn't say necessary, but it was that necessary, like, reason for people to wake up to the fact that, hey, everything's right here in my backyard.
Right.
And, you know, seeing businesses starting, like local businesses working together to do like promotions and, you know,
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
on joint projects or whatever.
Yeah.
And coming up with, you know, different ideas that would, you know, generate interest from the personal community. So it was getting back to, and I think something we missed for a long time was getting back to like supporting and working within your locale.
And it gave a little bit of power back to the small business owner.
Yeah.
Like I know for us, our menu is fairly small, our food menu, but I know some of the licensees we were selling to, some of the restaurants, they went from like 4-page menus to 1 page.
Yeah, just compacting
Right.
everything.
And they've kept it.
lots
Yeah,
of
they've kept it. And they're like,
Yeah.
we have 50 steaks. If we sell out, we sell out.
Right.
Whereas I know talking to some of them, and for us too, like people were okay with something not being available
Yeah.
in the brewery.
Yeah, that mentality of everyone has shifted now, like they're used to
Before it
things
was
being
like,
sold out. Yeah.
Gotta keep it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a complete change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when we run out of a beer, people are like, "Oh, good for you. That's amazing."
Yeah. Oh,
It's not low. You're not. They're coming. Not coming at you.
Yeah.
Angrily.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
And before there was like that fear of I run out of this, they're not coming back.
Yeah.
But
Right.
that changed.
changed.
And that's still there. I don't know how long it'll stick.
That's
Yeah.
definitely a
It seems
positive
to be
that came
there.
out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
With us, we only have 6 taps. Well,
Right.
to date, we've released 40
Right.
something different beers.
Right.
And they've all, like, everybody says, oh, when are you bringing that one back?
Yeah.
When are you bringing that one
Yeah.
back? I'm like, okay, listen, 6 taps, 4 fermenters,
Yeah.
4 weeks per beer in a fermenter. You do the math.
Yeah.
It'll be back someday. It'll be back someday.
Next
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Next year.
I think
Like you
often
said,
those.
Phil, the allure, right?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Oh, yeah.
Alex.
No,
Yeah.
sorry, Davey.
So,
Yeah,
The hype
yeah,
build
yeah,
up
I
on
agree.
it, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think it's funny with the oh, that beer's not in anymore. I think like when you said earlier, like you don't put them back to back, Phil. Like, I do think it builds up in people's mind like how good that beer was, and I'm like, I don't think I can make it as good as you remember it. Like, it was just a beer.
Oh, they're chasing the unicorn.
But it was
Or the
they
dragon or whatever
they
it
had
is.
such a good experience,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They had a good experience,
Absolutely.
and they picture that experience with that beer, and so they want that beer again. And so they're gonna like the beer when we bring it back. But I don't think strictly the beer can replicate the whole like good time that
Yeah.
people had with that.
You're always going to have
Lots
people
of
that say it
people
doesn't
don't-
taste the same.
Right.
Yeah.
And lots of people don't quite get what went into that beer.
Right.
Our
Sure.
cherry milkshake beer or scurvy elixir, the cherry milkshake.
It's
people are-
variables.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and people are like, why don't you have that? So, well, we have 12 cherry trees. We pick the cherries
Right.
and put them in the beer. When
Right.
the beer runs
Yeah,
out,
that's it.
Yeah.
we have to wait for Mother Nature to
Yeah.
We'll get more cherries.
get more. And lots of people
You
are
can
like,
just
"Oh,
buy those."
cherries
Yeah.
everywhere.
Well, I always tell you can buy grain. You don't have to
he
grow
tells
it.
me
Yeah,
that.
you can buy
I didn't
grain.
know. Do you guys buy grain in
Yeah,
bags?
yeah, yeah.
Sometimes,
Me
yeah.
too.
Almost all the time.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look into that.
I know.
I've been telling you about it for a couple of years now. You can
Somebody
buy
said
in
the same
bags.
about hops.
I did say the same about hops.
What?
Yeah.
It's crazy
In the grand
concept.
scheme of things, probably pretty cheap.
I can leave my property and get the ingredients.
You don't
They'll bring it to you.
You can still stay there. You could actually
don't have to
stay in
leave.
bed longer and they'll bring it to you. Yeah. Your day is only, 34 hours.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Versus 36.
Probably
This is so much better.
Somebody will come cut my grass too.
I mean,
You got a lot of grass. I'm not
for
sure.
the right price. Honestly, I think I'd do it for the right price. I got an available 30 minutes of my life. That's all it takes. Right?
30 minutes? Yeah.
That's all it takes.
We all have a commodity that certain people want to get paid in.
All right, we're going to move on. David, you're slower than everyone else.
I know. Phil's accusing me of drinking too much beer here, and I'm the
No. I'm pouring light.
We're on to
Trying to
patio
weather the
heater.
storm here.
Nice.
Patio
Alex,
heater.
talk to us about this.
Irish stout. So
Something dark.
different than something dark. It's another beer we have. So this beer, during COVID, when we were only open on the patio. Sorry, I spilled beer on your shoulder, Dave.
Sorry, that's the
That's not the first time.
10th time you've
Yeah. When we were only open on the patio in the cold middle of winter, we brewed an imperial stout and called it patio heater, like patio, not patio.
patio lantern.
P-A-T-I-O.
Okay.
Did I spell that right? P-A-T-I-O. Yeah,
Yeah,
patio heater.
Patio.
So we brewed that during the pandemic, an imperial stout, keep you warm on the patio. And then we were making an Irish stout, and we said, we should make it a riff on that, patio heater. That's where
Patty.
the name comes from, Irish stout.
It's very clean.
Nice.
Very clean. I like that.
Nitro?
We have it on tap on Nitro at the brewery. This is just regular carbonation.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice and
That's
light.
really nice.
Crushable.
Crush this
Yeah.
Yes, I could. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this beer quite a bit.
Yeah.
4.5, I think. Is
Four.
it 5? Yeah.
4.5.
4.5.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I struggle to make wheat beer. I don't know why. I just
Like
I
low-
aim for like 5%. Comes in at 5.5.
Really?
Aim for 4.5. It's 5.
That's an efficient brew house.
Is this commercial?
Complaining about something
That's a nice
that everyone agrees.
We're the opposite, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this guy. Little plug, eh?
Just gonna slip you a quick business card here. Yeah.
You can pay me in beer, buddy.
For those of you that don't know, David also sells brewing equipment. So
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, I've had plenty of people come in and say like, "Oh man, if you had like a 4%, something nice and light, that we just sit here all day and drink." I'm like, "Well, I don't even know if I want you guys to sit here."
First of all, we don't want that.
You're not enticing me to do this, so yeah.
Well, we're not going any lower than 5. If that's what it is.
So let's talk about what's coming up. What's new? What's going to happen over this next summer? Let's say we won't go too far in advance.
My hair will grow a little longer again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
You let it go in the summer?
Yeah, right, buddy.
It grows all out.
That's maxed out. Yeah.
I'm gonna sweat up my dad bod
Yeah, we talked about that.
all summer
Yeah.
long. I'll
Ricky,
sweat
do
it.
not have a
You
dad
call that
bod.
a dad bod?
Yes.
Dad bod? What the hell am I then?
My oldest daughter told me on the beach, she's like, "Oh, Dad's getting a dad bod."
That's not a dad bod.
It's not a dad bod.
No, that's not
Yeah.
That's tough.
This is a dad bod.
Maybe in just
Speaking of
men
dad
health
bod,
or
Alex.
something like that.
Yeah,
Alex welcomed a new baby. In the
that's
last
right. Yeah,
year.
yeah, yeah. We've got a
Actually,
baby.
Jesse did too.
Jesse did too.
Jesse did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First one, yeah.
Congrats,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a little chunker.
For us this year, like production-wise or brewing-wise or stuff?
Beer shows
Just-
is what's coming up this summer.
Yeah, we got some beer shows.
You are doing beer shows.
We're
Yeah,
excited
good
about
job.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm avoiding
we've
that.
got some.
My beer coming out shortly. Somebody came down to teach Stratford how
Cheers.
to brew.
Yes, that's true.
There you go.
Yeah, we actually have a collab coming out.
Yeah, cool.
A collab. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Who would do that?
I think I consulted over the phone when that was going on. Does
Yeah,
my
there
name on the
There
label?
were phone calls at both locations.
I think there was, yeah.
Yeah, both locations. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
So actually, Alex brewed
It's
the beer.
coming.
That's right.
We just hung out.
Alex told us how to do it over the phone.
yeah.
That's how most collabs I've done work.
Yeah.
They started to come up with name ideas.
Yes.
Open the bag. That's where I was lost. What, the green comes in bags?
Yeah.
Dump the bag in the mill.
Or you had to actually clean the mash tun
Oh
out
no,
by
you
hand.
wouldn't have said dump the bag in the mill.
No, I don't have a mill.
You don't know what a mill
No, I
is.
don't.
Right.
Oh, you get pre-milled.
Yeah, we
Have
do.
your,
Nice.
did you get your
For better or
silo
worse.
No.
Oh, he just
I
had
got
two
my
straps
silo
for
Open the
people.
bag then.
I got my silo up because
Yeah.
our base malt
Super sack.
2 ton, yeah, super sacks.
It's a lot of pouring, Rick.
2 ton tote.
It's a lot of
big.
pouring.
Yeah.
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 Beer fest. Sorry, we got distracted.
No,
This
that's all right.
happens.
Yeah, so we're gonna do some beer fests. I
is
think
exciting.
we want to try. Depends if the financial department gets their act together. I'd like to try like a smoothie sour,
Yeah.
like a 50% fruit, and
12%,
like a
like-
higher sour.
12% sour, mix
But
it down to
that-
like 5%.
That opens the whole new bag of like, do we like? I'd like to then
Packaging-wise?
Like
try
trying to get
pasteurizing.
Pasteurize it, yeah.
Yeah, pasteurizing the cans. So there's going to be like a lot of
It's complicated
testing
to
on
do
my
that.
side. So that means a lot of beers come home. And I try.
Hopefully not
We
too many
do,
explosions.
We do a lot of fun beers like that mixed with purees and
Yeah.
stuff. I just don't let them leave the property.
Oh, yeah.
We
Right.
pour
Yeah.
pints.
No takeout.
Yeah, no
take it.
takeout for
Yeah.
those
Good
ones.
idea.
Yeah,
That's
it
good. I
just
think
makes
we'll
it
most likely
easier.
do
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
I think with the slushy beer, like
Yeah.
we'll try to do a small batch and pasteurize it and see how that works.
Yeah.
But
Right.
That's something
Yeah.
we do with all our seasonals. Is we brew a small batch for the season. It's in-house only. The only
Test the
people that
market.
can take it home are part of our mug club, so they get a howler fill free every month. So the only time they can take it
I gotta be
home
part of this mug club.
is in their howler, their free howler.
Yeah.
So you can take that seasonal beer home
Right.
with you, right?
Yeah.
wow.
But our small batches are now there's just 4 hec, right? So 450 liters, whatever.
That's still pretty.
So, it keeps the tap room going for that season, and then you're working on the next seasonal for the next season. So just, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Cool.
So what's coming up at Caps Off then?
So
Howler fills every
now
month.
we have our
Growlers. Apparently we're all going to get fruit growlers. Yeah.
right now we have our cherry hibiscus fruit ale for the spring. Well, I guess it's late spring seasonal because
We'll take notes,
we
right?
had our maple wheat. And then for the summer, it's going to be the strawberry lime saison.
Ooh, yeah. I do really like
So we're
that
waiting
one.
for the fresh strawberries to come out.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So we hit up local farmers for most of our like additives for the flavored beers or the fruit beers, or we always try to get all of that stuff sourced locally. So
Cool.
yep,
Yeah.
as much as you can.
For sure.
Certain
Yeah.
things that
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just can't.
Like
Yeah.
lemons.
Yeah. Lemons.
Lemons.
Local lemons. Locally
Just saying.
squeezed.
Yeah.
Coconut.
Coconut.
Funny you told
Coconut.
that story.
Ours is locally toasted
Coconut, yeah.
yeah.
Locally toasted.
So you,
Oh, I
told,
love the wordplay.
Toaster at home, yeah.
you told that story about the limes, and I'm like, or the lemons, and recently when we do our stout batches, so the stout's a small batch, I stay at 4 hex, and I had to toast 15 pounds of coconut for each 4 hec batch. Well, I was doing it at home, but it would take me a whole morning. Like you put it in a roasting pan, and it's in there for 20 minutes.
We
and
put
then-
100 pounds in thanks to Alexa.
Yeah, and then finally I talked to a friend of ours who owns a local bakery.
Yeah.
And she delivers our soft pretzels. And I'm like, is there any way that you could toast coconut for me? And she's like, heck yeah, let's try it out. So we did, I think, 20-something pounds in an hour.
Right.
And I was like, this
a little
is
faster.
amazing.
Yeah.
I
It's
said,
a little
so next
faster.
time, I said, I'm just going to deliver the coconut to you. You send me a bill when you're all done, and I got another write-off.
Yeah.
And I saved the whole morning.
Exactly. Time is precious.
Right.
Yeah.
Alex.
Patio season, I guess, right? Seltzers. We do a bunch of seltzers, so seltzers coming back soon. Food trucks,
Speaking
bands.
of patio, out back,
Yeah, out back.
It's
Yep.
open?
Yep. Out back.
did you
Yep.
get hops growing?
No, we didn't grow any hops.
What the hell? I got the phone call.
Got busy.
I have them ready. They're
Perfect.
sitting in pots. Where have you been?
I thought you were coming to the brewery today, so you could have brought them with you.
Yeah, they're not sitting in pots.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't think so. When you said that, I was like, this guy's blowing smoke
Yeah.
up everyone's
Yeah.
ass.
Making Alex feel bad about it.
Yeah, that's why you do too. He called you right out.
So are you only doing seltzers in the summer?
We've had them all winter, but not in cans necessarily. Try to keep one on tap. But yeah, we're doing another full batch.
Yummy
that I brewed
seltzers.
today, and
They're
You
good.
just flavor
I
it
like them a
differently,
lot.
like take a bit off. Flavor.
yeah, so we'll do 3 flavors probably in a 20 hec batch of seltzer. So
You did like a key lime one last year, didn't you?
we did lime, we did grapefruit, pina colada, pineapple coconut.
Oh,
Yeah,
people get
yeah,
super excited.
yeah, really
for
good.
those things.
Yeah, yeah.
Fancy flavors.
Fancy
Yeah.
flavors.
Yeah.
We have a sangria one.
Whoa,
There you
whoa,
go.
calm it down there.
Right?
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Is anybody here going to the Binghamton's Park Beer
Yep.
Festival
Yeah,
coming up?
I saw you there. Yeah, we were there too.
Alex
yeah.
and I are like, nope.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, you guys have your own festival that weekend,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I think we picked, what was it, three festivals to
Yeah.
3 beer shows this year,
Cool.
and then that's it. We committed.
What are
to
you guys
3.
going to?
We got Binghamton's. We got. Wasn't there one in London? Try and correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, that's the same weekend, the London Co-op or the London Covent Garden one. Oh no,
No,
there's
we're
the
thinking
night
that.
market one.
No, it wasn't that one. We have a couple in St. Thomas, like
Okay.
the Beerlesque show.
Yeah.
But I figure for the bigger ones, I want to get a little
Beerlesque.
further from home.
Yeah.
Right.
I like the promotional pamphlet they sent for Beerlesque. It's very
Burlesque.
Burlesque.
It's very
I think
Beerlesque.
I'd fit into that crowd really well. A little bit of leather and my tool belt, and that's all you need. Yeah.
I don't think anyone wants to see that.
Everyone wants
Nobody
to
wants to see that.
And on that note,
Sheep's wool on the inside. Yeah.
I do want to thank you guys for joining us today. This is awesome. We've been trying to put this together, like I said, for like a year and a half. You've all been contacted at different points in time. And like, we should do this. And then it never works out. So I'm really glad it happened today. We'll have to try again for next year and see where everyone's at again next year.
Definitely. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming, guys.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
This is
Yeah.
fun. Good luck trying to nail 5 brewers down again.
Yeah, I know. I can do it. If I start now, by next
I mean,
year I'll
keep
have
bringing
it.
them to Goderich, and it's easy for me.
Yeah,
3 minutes from the brewery.
perfect. Thanks again for joining us, guys. We'll hopefully see you again shortly or talk to you again shortly with a new episode of Downriver Road.
Cheers.
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 We're all empty.
Mine's not. I'm good. Yeah.